So it is finally draft week. And you know what? We've talked plenty about the Cowboys potentially picking a wide receiver at number 12 overall. But the beauty of the NFL draft is we don't know what's going to happen. So what if they surprise us? Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Mauricio Rodriguez here at A to Z Sports Dallas. Today, we are getting into 5 players that the Cowboys could pick surprisingly early in the NFL draft. I'm talking about potential surprises at 12th overall, where they're scheduled to pick this Thursday. So far, we've had countless videos about the Cowboys' likely plan. And so far, I think the biggest takeaway has been the pick is likely going to be a wide receiver. For several reasons, the overwhelming need they've got at the position beyond CeeDee Lamb, the fact that Ted McMillan and Matthew Golden might likely be there, the two of them. Worst case scenario, it feels like Golden will 100% be on the board when they're on the clock. So wide receiver just makes sense. Even if they trade down, they could target Emeka Egbuka. They could target Luther Burden. They've got options and they need a wide receiver. We've also talked about how Marion Hampton has been linked to them multiple times. And sure, they need a running back, and Mel Kiper Jr. mocking him to the Cowboys 3 consecutive times during this process was a little bit weird. It could mean something. Who knows? But what about the picks that we haven't talked about enough? This is the NFL draft. And as much as I can say that wide receiver is the likeliest pick, I cannot tell you that I am 100% confident in it happening because there are way too many variables. And all it takes is one player to be ranked above in the board to get the Cowboys thinking. That's the beauty of the NFL draft. That's why we watch it. That's why we love sitting down in front of the TV to hear names being called, which is what the draft is. So let's do it. Let's get into 5 surprising names we could hear at number 12 overall. Number 1 on the list, cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan. You know his story. This is a player that would be considered a top 10 surefire pick if it wasn't for the injury history. And if there's one thing we know about the Cowboys is they don't care much about that. They are willing to take risks when it comes to the NFL draft, and their cornerback situation is a little bit daunting. Trevon Diggs is dealing with an injury. Who knows whether, one, he will be ready for the start of the 2025 season, and who knows if he's going to be the same long-term for the Cowboys' defensive backfield. Johnson is considered a very versatile player that can line up everywhere in the defensive backfield, can play man coverage and zone coverage alike. He could make sense for a Cowboys defensive backfield with a question mark in Trevon Diggs and a complete vacancy at nickel after Jordan Lewis's departure in free agency. Another name on the list, tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This would be the major shocking one, but there's a decent chance he is there at number 12 overall. Teams like the New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears might pick him earlier than Dallas. There's a decent chance that he drops for plenty of reasons, mainly positional value, right? Picking a tight end in the top 10 is always controversial. But if he's there at 12, and the Cowboys look at Jake Ferguson and they go, he's been promising, he's been good, but are we going to pay him top dollar 1 year from now when he hits free agency? That is the biggest question there. And if the answer is we're not sure about it, maybe you pick Tyler Warren and you get ready to move on. I love Jake Ferguson, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he is a lock to be extended long-term when the Cowboys are signing many big deals with stars like CeeDee and Dak and Micah Parsons and more to come like Tyler Smith. So all I'm saying is if a top 10 talent like Warren is there at number 12, the Cowboys might think about it. Another name on the list is Mikael Williams out of Georgia. This is a defensive end that has caused a lot of controversy among fans all around the NFL because while he has the traits and while he's a great run defender, he isn't as polished as a pass rusher. And using a premium pick on somebody like that is always going to be controversial. But Mikael Williams is someone that a lot of insiders have said, hey, you know what? The Cowboys might like him. He is one of the top 30 visits that we know about. So him at number 12 is definitely possible. Speaking of defensive linemen, what if they bet on someone who has insane traits, but maybe not crazy production in college? And I'm talking about Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. He's explosive, he's powerful, and if you need a three technique, he can be the guy. If you need a defensive end, he can be the guy. If you want him to line up, standing up over the center, he can be the guy. He is crazy versatile. The question is, why didn't he produce out of college, basically? But Jamar Stewart, likely going to be a top 15 pick. If he's there for the Cowboys, could they get a crazy defensive lineman? And last but not least, Kelvin Banks out of Texas. I don't know if the Cowboys want to do an offensive lineman in the first round. Honestly, they've signed 3 offensive linemen so far. But what if they like Kelvin Banks? This is a front office that I don't think would shy away from drafting an offensive lineman. And there's been some buzz about them potentially liking some guys, especially if they trade down. So Kelvin Banks, if they trade down and he's there at some point, I could totally see them drafting that guy. And Banks has some positional flex, which we know they love. He could play guard and compete with Brock Hoffman. He could play tackle and compete with Terrence Steele. And the Cowboys might like that. They like competition, especially when it comes to the trenches. And neither of those two, Hoffman nor Steele, are guaranteed long-time starters. So Banks, hey, he could be the guy. But again, I insist, I think the Cowboys are going to end up picking a wide receiver. But if you want to talk about potential alternatives, I think these 5 names are right up there. The good news is we are days away from finding out the actual pick from the Cowboys. Cannot wait.